This is WCNY's The Capitol Press Room, and we're sharing an excerpt of my Dispatches from Planet Albany conversation with Marc Molinaro, the former state assembly member and congressman who recently left a job in the Trump administration to run for the state assembly again, a career move that has prompted a lot of head-scratching among journalists and people connected to New York state government. So let's get to the big question that's on everybody's mind. It's the one you're always getting asked first, and that's about why the assembly. And in previous interviews, you've talked about giving up your role in the Trump administration to be closer to home, but still wanting to be involved in public service. Public service, though, can take a lot of different forms. So why the assembly and not something else?
You're going to run my campaign for town board or county legislature?
Some people would argue that being a town supervisor is more substantive than being a member of the assembly minority.
Yeah, I will tell you, when I go around the district, the 102nd Assembly District, nobody asks the question, which is interesting, right? Because the average voter is basically asking, one, why should I vote for you, and two, what do you bring to the table? And they don't get behind the curtain and see these positions as invaluable or valuable or not valuable at all. They want to know what you can do for them. I'll save you the pageantry, but I do believe this. There are a couple of things. I actually still believe in public service. I believe that there's value in contributing, and I know where my experience, my both professional and political experience, my knowledge base, and where I think can be most impactful remains here. And I know,
as a member of the Assembly Minority Conference.
Yeah, well, see, but that's part of the problem, right? Because your view is that I'm getting this from the tone of the question.
Sure.
Your view is unless you're at 51%, you don't have value.
No, I think you can impact the conversation.
Yeah. So you answered the question.
Steer things in a certain direction, but you've also, when talking about running for governor again, you said, been there, done that. So why doesn't the same thing apply in the case of serving in the assembly?
Yeah, well, in this particular case, the communities that I've grown up in, the communities that my kids go to school in, are struggling hard, and I believe that I can be of value to the people of the 102nd Assembly District. I actually still believe that there's the capacity to help solve longstanding water and environmental issues that remain in our communities. Mm-hmm. I believe there's value organizing regional economic development plans so that our communities can grow within the challenges that exist in New York. And I believe that they need a voice in Albany who, whether invited or not to the table, can talk about the need to drive down property taxes, understands why energy costs are so high, how to confront unfunded mandates at the state level coming down onto county and local governments. I believe that I can be and still remain capable of being a very valuable, mediator in those conversations. I also believe here in the Capitol that we need competent, capable voices, and there are a great number of them who are willing to offer alternative views. And what I'd offer to you is, I came to the state legislature, 100 years ago, but we came in.
Easy. 2007 wasn't that far.
Fair enough. But I came in when we were talking about sweeping ethics reforms and procedural changes that would make the place work. And you know what happened? They've abandoned all of them.
I was going to say, you could still talk about all that stuff today.
Right, but my point is that you've kind of let it happen. The majority has let it happen. And the taxpayers and voters don't understand why it's happened. Why is it that the state assembly doesn't convene for debate anymore? Why don't you have to be in your seat to vote any longer?
Hold over the pandemic?
No, but that was swept away in 2006 and 2007 because of decades of erosion of democracy, transparency, some degree of transparency, public engagement. And so I just think that for me, my experience and my passion, it comes together to be, I think, an effective member of the state legislature. The other is I'll offer to you is I served in the minority, and frankly, even in Congress, having the slight majority in the House didn't mean anything when you had a Senate, a Democratic majority and a Democratic president. You build skills that allow you to work across the aisle in order to get some things done.
Right, but saying you co-sponsored a majority bill in the assembly is not the same thing as in Congress, where, yes, the majority has power, but the minority has a lot more power in D.C.
We wouldn't have the property tax cap were it not for the Assembly Republicans.
That's, I'd say we wouldn't have it if not for Andrew Cuomo, the Senate Republicans.
Listen, at the time, the Senate Republicans weren't embracing the property tax cap. I can assure you I was here.
Okay.
This was a constant commitment to trying to freeze and slow the rate of growth of property taxes. And ultimately, sure, obviously the Senate Republicans led on the issue. Well, they delivered on their side, and in their House, they delivered the votes for it. But it took a lot of us to have to push that needle over the course of a decade in order to have it happen. The Hudson River Valley Greenway was going to be jettisoned by Governor David Patterson. It wasn't the Assembly Democrats who saved the Hudson River Valley Greenway. I did. And by the way, through a single letter writing campaign and conversations with majority members who, at the time, if I remember correctly, Richard Brodsky and ultimately Kevin Cahill said, you know what, he's right. We can't get rid of the Hudson River Valley Greenway. It took Republicans and Democrats. I worked with Jerry Solomon and Maurice Hinchy to spearhead the Hudson River Heritage designation all those years ago. So there's the capacity to still get stuff done if you define if your definition of success isn't winning a vote on the floor.
Sure. So where does the fervor for the Assembly come from? Because as of a couple months ago, you were interested, based on reporting in the New York Post and elsewhere, in a run for Congress. So when did Congress no longer become the plan and Assembly became the plan?
Well, those were the reports. I was definitely being asked to consider running in the 21st congressional district.
Well, the reports were that you were reaching out to county chairs.
I understand what the reports were.
Are those wrong?
The reports were what they were. I was being strongly encouraged to run.
Did you not reach out to the Conservative Party chair, Jerry Kassar, and say, hey, could we potentially get a cross-endorsement here?
I wouldn't want to talk about the conversations I had with Jerry Kassar other than to say to you that there was a concerted effort to encourage me to run for the 21st district, and I began to make calls to see if that was actually of some degree of interest. But again, for me, it's not fervor in the way you're defining it.
But when did the switch happen? When did you say, I'm not doing the Congress thing anymore and I want to do Assembly? Was there a specific event that prompted the transition?
I wouldn't frame the conversation the way you have. I wanted to get back to public service in a way that was more committed, more local, more engaged in my community, and frankly wanted to be more present for my family. And this became an opportunity that I still have to earn. And I think there's real value here, and frankly, want to commit to being not only an effective legislator, but an advocate for the district and the people I would hopefully represent.
So there are a lot of different ways to approach serving in the state legislature. It has a constitutional role that is primarily session-based, right? It's primarily around passing bills, but almost no one takes that approach. Most people are much more active. They're doing community events. It's a job all year round, and as you see with the budget process, takes some long nights. So are you concerned at all about serving in the state legislature being kind of defeating of that idea of being close to home? If you want to do this job well, isn't this all consuming?
It is, and you go home at night.
Sure.
And I live 32 minutes from the state capitol, and and can go home at night. And it's the same as having a full-time commitment to any profession. And so, having done it, having served in 11 counties in the 19th congressional district, I can assure you that this provides an opportunity to be really close, not to home, but close to the people and in the counties, Otsego, Albany, Delaware, and Greene counties, to be close to those communities and really engage. And to the point of the broader question, that's the kind of public official that I've always been. I mean, I've always joked it's like I want to be the mayor of the district, meaning I want to be the person the Republican and Democrat office holder, community leader, business leader reaches out to to try to get direction, advice, and to build the relationships, which I have, with departments here in state government, ensure that somebody's advocating on their behalf, getting questions answered, having problems resolved. The work that, frankly, I've done my entire adult life and believe that I can be of some real value now to the 102nd District.
And that was an excerpt of our Dispatches from Planet Albany conversation with Republican Marc Molinaro, who's running for state assembly this year, a job he left 15 years ago to serve as county executive and then a member of Congress. To hear the full interview, check out Dispatches from Planet Albany wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Support for Capital Press Room comes from National Fuel, working to help customers understand what drives energy bills, from taxes and state-mandated programs to market-driven price increases for natural gas, which utilities don't profit from. More information at betterplansnobands.com.
And by New York State United Teachers, a statewide union of nearly 700,000 professionals in education and healthcare.